So for our 2-point perspective, we're going to start with a ruler going horizontally across the paper, and we are going to draw as parallel to the sides of the page as possible. The next thing that we need to do is put our vanishing points at each side of our paper. Then we're going to create a perpendicular vertical line to start our building. When we start our building, I try to make sure that it's going to be going through the horizon line and further down on the paper. There's a different lighting for you so you can see it a little bit better. Now from the top and the bottom, I'm going to treat this like a stick figure that has arms and legs going back into the vanishing points. There's going to be a vanishing point on the left side and right side that you have to go back to. I'm going to go all the way. There's a little stick figure face for you. Then the arm on the left side. Go back to the vanishing point. You have to go back to the dots. One of the biggest issues that students have is going back to the dot. And then go to the right vanishing point from the top. Go all the way back. From the bottom, you'll go to the vanishing point, make sure it's reaching the dot. Hold that ruler down so it doesn't move on you. So to create the building, you need to have parallel vertical lines. It's going to be parallel to the first vertical line that we created. Go to the other side, do the same thing. I use the ruler to kind of match up where the other line would be, and then move it to the other side. Now you're going to erase the top converging lines. Converging lines are just the diagonal lines that go back to the vanishing point. In our future buildings, we will not go all the way back to the vanishing point. I do like to keep the bottom converging lines, just so that way I know where to place my next buildings. But I've also taught in some of my classes where you don't really need to place it right on the line, but pretty darn close. So now we're going to start with our second building. For the next one, I'm going to do something a little bit shorter, and it's going to be below the eye level. The first one is at eye level, meaning it intersects the horizon line. The second vertical line, it's going to be a lot shorter. I try to keep it, a good healthy margin between the horizon line. I'm going to take the top back only partially to one of the vanishing points. Remember, it's our stick figure. So I have one arm. I'm going to make the other second arm. And then for the legs, you need to remind yourself to take each leg to its own vanishing point. That way you have a left side of your building and a right side. Some students tend to create both sides as a one whole unit or forget to neglect the other side of their building. Then just like before, we're going to cut off the hands and the feet and make more of a building or cube. Remind yourself, keep it parallel. The top corner will now, because you want to create the top of the building, you're going to take that back to the opposing vanishing point, or the opposite vanishing point. On the first building, I forgot to erase the horizon line. Because it is intersecting the horizon line, that building is not transparent, meaning that I see all four sides. So I'm going to erase my horizon line on each side. And I don't need the smiley face to help me with my stick figure. Let's go to the third building, do the same steps. Vertical line first, make sure it's parallel with all other vertical lines. I'm going to make this one just a tiny bit above the horizon line. I'm going to take both arms and legs, remind yourself of the stick figure, one arm to the left, one leg to the left, check your vanishing points, hold down your rulers unlike myself, erase if you need to change it. Then you're going to take it to the right side as well. So one leg to the right, and then one arm to the right. I'm not taking it all the way back because I want less work. Now just because I stopped the arm and the leg does not always mean that it's parallel to the first vertical line. So please make sure that everything has to be parallel to the first vertical line that you've created. Or else you'll have tilted buildings that don't quite look correct. Erase your horizon line. Now we're going to start our fourth building. We're going to use a vertical line yet again. I'm going to go all the way a little bit taller. Stick figure. Erase my past stick figure face. Start anew. Arms and legs go back to each vanishing point. Now for the legs. And then make sure that you cut off each side of your building so that you have walls the left side, and if you hit a building you stop. And then the right side, make sure it's parallel with your vertical line that you started with. If you have any extras like I do, you're going to erase your horizon line that goes through your building. Now let's go on to our fifth building. Start with your vertical line that's nice and parallel to the other vertical lines that you started. One thing that you're going to be looking for is different heights. As you can tell, we have one below, we have a few that are above. I'm going to start with my stick figure. I no longer need my other stick figure. I'm going to erase him. Now I'm going to go back to my left building over here. I'm going to take both arms, both legs, back to each vanishing point. Now for the legs. And then make sure that you cut off each side of your building so that you have walls the left side, and if you hit a building you stop. And then the right side, make sure it's parallel with your vertical line that you started with. If you have any extras like I do, you're going to erase your horizon line that goes through your building. Now let's go on to our fifth building. Start with your vertical line that's nice and parallel to the other vertical lines that you started. One thing that you're going to be looking for is different heights. As you can tell, we have one below, we have a few that are above. I'm going to start with my stick figure. I no longer need my other stick figure. I'm going to erase him. Now I'm going to go back to my left building over here. I'm going to take both arms, both legs, back to each vanishing point. So left side leg, right side arm, and vertical side for each. If you hit a building, stop. Left side next. Then you're going to erase your converging line that tethers back. I drew my top one all the way back, but I really didn't need to. And erase your bottom. I left some residual line for my other buildings. I'm going to erase my stick figure face, the horizon line that goes through my building. I personally like finding some alleyways and some space in between my buildings. This is why I start with a vertical line over here, away from the other buildings, but you can also conjoin your buildings. If you need to learn about that, just ask me. We can do that together. I'm going to start with my other stick figure. It's going to be a little bit shorter, but still crossing the horizon line. Use my stick figure face. I'm going to start with the top, take it back on the bottom, and then go all the way back to the opposite side. Make sure that you're meeting that vanishing point. So the other leg, and then now the arm. Cut off the left side. Make sure it's parallel to your stick figure body. Erase any converging line no longer a part of your building. Erase your horizon line that goes through your building. Fix any lines if you accidentally erase them. Use a ruler. Let's draw another building on the right side. Start with your vertical line. Take your arm back to the left side. Take your leg back to the left vanishing point as well. Take both top and bottom back to each vanishing point. Erase your other stick figure. Now you have a new one. Then you're going to go and take your right leg back to the right vanishing point, just a little bit. And then a right arm going back to the right vanishing point. And then cut off. Make sure it's parallel. Erase any extra. So horizon line going through your building, and stick figure face since we no longer need it. If you're going to do a building in the background, you're going to start where one building stops, and then you're going to take just the arms back to the vanishing point, number 1 and 2. You do not see the legs, so because they're behind, they're overlapping from the first building. And the first building will be the one that will block your view. You're still going to erase your horizon line. Fix up any lines if they ended up getting erased.